Hi Aries, welcome to your February 2019 tarot and astrology reading. Welcome back to this channel if you are a regular here, and if you're new, please do subscribe. We're getting quite close to 50,000 subscribers, which is very exciting. So please do if you enjoy this reading, of course. Now Aries, this reading is designed to be quite blunt, because you're gonna want it quite straight this month. Now you want it straight all the time, but you're gonna want to hear straight information from other people, because you are picking up so much of what is under the surface with people's intentions and their motivations this month that you are becoming a little bit paranoid about it. Because Aries isn't typically the most intuitive sign unless you have a water sign moon. You're more into the action and the doing and what is working on a physical level and material level. You're very spiritual people, of course, but you have more the infant's approach to life, whereby when you fall over, you get up and go again. The difficulty with Mercury being in the 12th, and the Sun is also going to shift into the 12th on the 19th as well. So your intuition is going to be very high. So much so that you may try and find an actual physical outlet for that. So it could be exercise, or it could be, in some cases, Aries, it could be abusing drugs or alcohol. So please don't do that. The full moon in your house of health on the 19th encourages you to combat the Piscean energy with looking after your health, because you may overdo it in terms of partying if you do drink. Linda Goodman, one of the greatest astrologers of all time, she was an Aries, but she did say Aries people shouldn't really be drinking because it just doesn't work for them. They're more, they've more a clear head than other people do, and drugs and alcohol are, they're so not essential for you guys, because you guys are just get up and go people. And 12th house energy therefore can be a bit tricky for you, because it can be so wishy-washy and wallowy. Now, that being said, Venus moving into your 10th house, you will have your head in the career game. You're going to be so driven. You're going to be so popular in your career. You're going to come across as so charming and so responsible whenever Venus is in this side of the sky for you. Mars going into your 2nd house on the 15th encourages that career focus and putting your money where your mouth is in terms of your finances. Really considering what it is that you do with your money and what you spend it on. Your focus is going to be on career and finance in many ways. But not to neglect your friendships, because there's a new moon in the 11th house there. So you'll make a lot of amazing connections this month, Aries. I can tell you that. You can manifest new friendships if you want some more. You may find more social activities. You may feel more sentimental than usual, is one thing I want to say. So embrace that energy. Get in touch with your feminine side. And do think about what you're putting in your body. Okay? Because in many ways, it's going to matter more than ever this month, because you will see a reflection of what you're nourishing your body and your mind with this full moon in Virgo. It will point out to you the habits that you've been making and the financial decisions you've been making. 10 of Pentacles. As I say, Venus being in your career sector, Mars moving into your financial side, you're going to be more money focused. You're going to be more career driven. You're going to see payoff. You're going to get a pay rise for some of you. You're going to manifest money easier. And we've talked a lot about that having it all thing, when you feel you have to sacrifice one for the other. And that's very typical of Aries with Leo in their chart, because you do worry, can I have it all? Aries in general, you will go after things and you want things to be... You like masculine, feminine roles in many ways, but you're also pioneers and mavericks. You go after justice in many ways, but what I'm trying to say, because that's coming out quite confused, what I'm trying to say, Aries, is you're going to be more aware of what's going on beneath, what people's motivations are, what people really mean. You're gonna have more gut feelings and you're gonna be more intuitive. So listen to those. Trust your gut instincts, because if you want to say no to something, say no. Okay? If every fiber in your body is telling you something's wrong, listen to it. Okay? Really, really listen to it. And if every fiber in your body is telling you, this is what I want, go after it. But please don't be naive with your intuition. Okay? Knight of Wands, there's you. There's you. The pioneer, the maverick. The Knight of Wands isn't unlike the Fool in his temperament. He's very carefree, he's very excitable, and he's very open. Sometimes too open, because you know whenever the Knight of Wands is too open, he can think the grass is always greener. In fact, there's no green grass here. He's always going off to look for the green grass, and it's never greener. Okay? It's crossed by the Eight of Cups, so you are approaching an ending to a situation or leaving with great adventure. Some of you may be traveling overseas to pursue a new career, a new job. Some of you may be leaving an old relationship to pursue pastures new. You are positive about this change, but you're also somewhat emotionally tired in many ways. But you're fighting on. You're going on with this. It's just that the Eight of Cups can sometimes represent feeling a little bit disappointed that things didn't work out the way that they're meant to. But as I say, Aries, you pick yourself up again and you go. The World card. In your past position, and also in your past, the Four of Pentacles. So finally letting something go that was possibly over a while ago. Success and holding on to your money, learning to save money has been or will be something that you encounter with Mars in Taurus. Now, another way of looking at this is that something came full circle. You're possibly still holding on to it. You're moving forward, but you've got one eye over the shoulder. Okay, we have Strength. Lovely Strength card. Very Leo energy in this reading, actually. Now, it's funny Strength cards come up because I was Googling this. I love Googling other people's interpretations of cards. I was Googling this until I think like 2 in the morning last night because I really wanted to get to grips with the Strength card in terms of, you know, its meaning, its deeper meaning than just taming the beast that's within us. So a Strength card can represent your infinite wisdom. These two are connected. They need each other. They both give to each other. The reason the beast is so calm with her is because she's calm with him. We all have within us a shadow side, and the Strength card represents being very gentle and patient with yourself and forgiving yourself for something that you possibly are still holding on to. Forgiving yourself for making a decision in the lower self, for doing something that you regret doing. It's forgiving your inner beast. The only way to take control of our shadow side is by at least acknowledging it. We're not perfect. Nobody's perfect. We all make decisions from insecure places at times in our life. We grow from them. We evolve. They're lessons learned. You win or you learn. The Empress. You win or you learn. Feminine energy is so important. Aries is known as the most masculine sign of the zodiac, and that's not to offend the ladies. What that means is that you can be very in touch with the way of doing things, the way of acting, as I say, action-oriented rather than the sensitivities and the feelings. And you're trying to get more in touch with that feminine aspect. As I said, listen to your intuition, don't be afraid to say no. The Empress is someone who will always do what's best for her, and if she has children, for her children. Making an emotional, feminine decision rather than basing it on logic and rationality, okay? It's listening to that inner voice, listening to that inner intuition, and just feeling okay with doing so. You could also be dealing with a Taurus person or a Libra person, but we have Leo here as well. We have the Four of Wands and the Tower. We have the Fool, and we have the Seven of Wands. Underneath, Page of Wands. Okay. So this particular feeling, this particular dream, this particular relationship that you've been fighting against giving up because you believed that with action, with positive action, it could be salvaged one day, or it could come back, or it can be saved. You need to go in a more feminine direction. And by that, I mean be more passive. And this is traditional meaning, by the way. This isn't suggesting that feminine people are passive to everything. You know, we have combinations of both within us. It's balancing the two. Everyone's masculine and feminine. It's just with Aries, in contrast to Pisces. 12th house, first house energy. One is more impulsive and go, go, go. Everything can be worked on. And the other is more emotive. You know, is this actually something that speaks to my soul? Your combination this month of both is possibly going to be frustrating. Listening to that intuition, listening to that gut feeling, you're possibly going to resist it a fair bit. And that is because you do not like feeling as though things are out of your control, whether that be material or spiritual. But you fear more at being out of your control emotionally. You don't want to lose your cool. You don't want to reveal your emotions. You don't want to look foolish. Aries, you don't. The Strength card is all about taking the feminine to tame the beast. If you suppress your emotions, if you suppress your intuition, you will be this lion that attacks her. You know, you will let the beast run away with you. And you don't have to do that because she's calm and she's poised and she's composed. She knows she has a handle on it because she's coming at from a spiritual level. That's why she's in white. She's using her spiritual and emotional side to tame the ferocious beast represented by red, which is your color. So the dark side of Aries is what's possibly coming to the surface for you in many ways, and you're trying to work it out through action. Mars was in your sign for most of January. Well, all of January and a bit of February, half of February. So Mars will still be in your sign for the first half, and that is when you're going to be at your most active. But when Mars moves into Taurus, represented by the Empress, you need to be more patient with yourself, possibly with others. There's a tower moment in your environment. You feel like something that was built to last is not lasting. You feel like you could rebuild it pretty quickly, you know, replace one house with another. It doesn't necessarily work that way, not on a soul level. You are bringing to the environment the Four of Wands. You think you can solve everything on your own. You do. You think you can, if it's a family dispute, you think you can solve everything on your own. You think that you're the pillars in the, you're what's holding up the roof, protecting everybody. You think you're the roof, you think you're the pillars, you think you're the ground below. You think you're having to save everybody and make everything work yourself because you think you can. That's cool, but what about your emotional needs? What about the feelings that are going on underneath, Aries? Because whether you like it or not, Mercury's going to ruffle some of those secrets you've buried deep for fear of shame, for fear of judgment, for fear of looking weak. You cannot stand looking weak. If it's physical pain, you can accept it because you think, well, bones heal. You know, pain physically is temporary. It's the emotional bit that you run away from because you don't want to look weak and you don't want to dwell. You think, no, there's things to do, people to see, money to make, career opportunities to take. Yes, they're all there this month. They are. They really are. But you're hurting about something, be it past, be it present. You're hurting about something. It's a rainy day at some point during February, and you feel as if you're standing alone as a candle in this rain, and you are starting to feel up against the odds, but you think you can take it without having to acknowledge it first. But you have to acknowledge it because this is something deeper than you anticipated. Uranus has been wreaking havoc in your sign from time to time for the last 7 years. And you feel frustrated by that. You don't want to go inward and do this deep soul-searching moment because there's things to do, there's money to make. But there are 24 hours in a day and you cannot work for 24 of them. So what about those hours where you rest? What about those hours where you have downtime? Do you even have downtime, Aries? Because a lot of Aries I know just don't. Because in the words of one Aries, it said to me, I don't want to stop what I'm doing in case I cry. And if I cry, I don't think I'll stop. And that, to me, is the epitome of a hurt Aries that doesn't know how to deal with their emotional pain. Because they can deal with everything else. They can deal with everything else. But you can deal with this too. Just because you're a Mars person and you forever feel like a soldier going off to battle when it comes to your emotions, doesn't mean that you don't get to rest. Okay? We're in Aquarius season now, so we're not that far away from your season. Wouldn't it be good to go through that little bit of hurt, acknowledge it, put it to bed before you go into your season all gung-ho? Because this is you, Aries. You're forever going to be the Emperor. You're very successful. And you've surrounded yourself with a lot of fixed sign people, with Taurus, with Scorpio, with Leo, and with Aquarius. You've surrounded yourself with those people. Ace of Swords and the Four of Pentacles. You're talking the talk, but you're not necessarily walking the walk. Ace of Swords is the no BS card. It's cutting to the heart of the matter. But how can you get to the heart of the matter when it's blocked by a pentacle? You can protect yourself by your material things all you want, but it's catching up with you. Strengthen the Five of Pentacles. Others may find you cold if you fail to speak your truth. In contrast to people not being bothered about you being upset, it's the opposite. Knight of Swords and the Empress. You can't rush growth. You can't rush emotional growth. We have the Page of Cups. The Devil and the Tower. Yes. Restricted. Queen of Pentacles and the Fool. And the Eight of Pentacles. Okay. Said it before, if you have to say no, you have to say no. Can't do everything. Six of Pentacles. Some of you are really arguing with your mother, Aries, or a daughter, and you're arguing over insensitivities of speech. So what's going on within, your family dynamic at the moment is that you are just wanting to gloss over things. You just want to be fine. You just want to say, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. But there's something hurting you. And you're waiting, you're trying to rush it on. You just think, I want this to be over. If you're going through something emotionally, Aries, what you actually have to do is release resistance to it. What you resist will persist. If you keep trying to block off this feeling, it's not going to go on by itself. You can be upset. You can go off by yourself for a little while and have a good cry and then come back. Poker face. You can do that. Or you can bring other people in and allow them to support you. Particularly the females in your life. The Leos, the Libras, and the Taurus females in your life, Aries, are going to want to support you while you're having a little bit of an emotional moment. When the sun goes into Pisces season, it's very emotional for everybody. It's more emotional for you because it's the 12th house of secrecy, the subconscious, the emotions. And yes, Venus is in your career sector. Yes, she is. And Mars is in Taurus. As I say, you could be going through a period of abundance. You could have financial money come in and really help you out. And yes, money's good. And you want to keep working, and you're burying yourself in your work. Just make sure that you're not burying your feelings while you're there. Because with the Devil and the Tower in your environment sector, I feel as though you're trying to keep such emotional control that you're erupting every 5 minutes. You might be feeling angry about something and the way it turned out. You might have been shocked. The devil is in the details. You don't have to be enslaved by your fear of failure. As I say, you win or you learn. But career, finance, all that stuff's going particularly well for you. In the Four of Wands and the Page of Cups, some of you may have recently moved in together with somebody that you are romantically involved with. Some of you may be starting to think about what type of romantic life you want if you're single. If you're currently involved with somebody, they want you to be more open about your feelings. They want you to talk more. They want you to show a little bit more emotion. For some of you on a more extreme level, they may be trying to control you to see more emotion. They'll get a very rude awakening when Mercury eventually goes into your sign. That's not for a while yet, because Mercury's going to retrograde in your 12th house. So if you're hoping to make it out of the Mercury retrograde in your 12th without being somewhat emotional, good luck. Because Mercury will retrograde over the area that you need to go inward and look. Even though you're trying not to. I get you're trying really hard not to. You don't want to deal with this emotional stuff. You're over it. You think you're over it. I think for a lot of you it was a failed romance, possibly with a Virgo. Or you're indecisive about romance in general. Or you're feeling lonely. Some of you are feeling lonely. You've been so buried in your career that you've not had time and you're feeling lonely. You're wondering about your biological clock for some of you, whether it's running out or not. You're really starting to get a bit panicky about things. But the Empress here, that's not something you should be worrying about. Okay? King of Swords, Ace of Swords, Four of Pentacles. A man who blocks his emotions or his intentions, who will run away from his feelings because he has stuff to do. This is you or it's somebody else. Could be an air sign, could be Aquarius, Libra, Gemini. In the love readings that I do on Vimeo, there will be more specific of each element if you want to check that out. You don't have to. I am going into them in this reading too. The moon. So the full moon in Leo, the lunar eclipse in your romantic sector, Aries, has awakened some feelings regarding your love life, regarding your children, things that were buried, things that you glossed over. They're all coming to a head in some way in the weeks that surround this full moon. So right up until the Virgo full moon in your house of health, you will be aware of how you feel romantically. Feelings might have come out of the woodwork, things might have come out from childhood repressed trauma. You could be crying over things that you didn't know bothered you still, but you're having a judgment moment. And judgment's great because it wakes you up, it shakes you up, and it's doing it rather quickly actually. You have a big decision to make in terms of career and money. Big decision. And it's to do more with your emotion about the project. It's to do more with what you want from life. It's not all about the money. I feel like some of you may be offered good money. Or you could have there's a project in particular in your career that you feel very, very passionate about. And in some way it's assisting other people, so you feel a little bit like others are depending on you and you have to be strong. But what about you? King of Pentacles. Some of you could be married to an earth sign, a Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, or some of you could be bringing the provider to this. I feel some of you are so concerned that you have these deep feelings, but you have other people to look after. I get this very strong vibe of you being either the father of kids to support, the mother of kids to support, having to look after your friend who's going through a really bad breakup, but you're worried about something else, or that kind of thing. Two of Cups. So some of you have, with the Tower and the Devil, come through a very traumatic experience romantically and you thought you were fine. You thought you were over this person who was very controlling, domineering, or abusive, or manipulative. That is in your environment. Those emotions are bubbling to the surface. You cannot build a relationship on false foundations. So if you have preconceived notions that love is destined to fail, you will repeat the same mistakes over and over and over until you change your viewpoint. Seven of Swords. A lot of you are very afraid of being made to look like a fool. So I feel like somebody's done that to you. And the Lovers. Oh, I love a happy ending. See what happens when you do a little bit of inner work and you acknowledge some home truths and you come through the other end. He's doing that work. First, he's defensive. He's fighting it off. That's the first week in February. Second week is the 8th. 7, 8. Around the second week, you start working on stuff. You start working on yourself. You start trying to build yourself from the ground up again. And then in comes the Lovers. Acceptance, options, vulnerability, expressing your vulnerability. That's what the Lovers is. Harmony. How you connect with people, choosing love. Aries, you do the work on yourself, you give up the defenses and you choose love, even though you've been feeling very scared, very sleepless, having weird dreams. Justice could be with a Libra. Romantic justice will prevail. Okay, so if you've been hurt by a really grim situation, be prepared for some justice. Possibly with a Libra. You could be romantically involved with a Libra. You could find love with a Libra, or you could find your marriage partner. It'll be interesting in the extended to see what's going on, because I can see the fixed signs Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius. I can see Libra, I can see Pisces. I can see so many people. Sacred space. Create an altar to visit a power place or connect with the divine. Spending time alone to get back to your spirituality. Meditating, just finding the peace in that. And we have Matt, fairness. The situation will be handled in a just and fair manner. Bit strange that we have justice and Matt when you see the scales. Okay, so some of you are definitely in the legal profession. Some of you are dating somebody in the legal profession. Some of you are going through a divorce or getting legally married. Either way, everything's going to be resolved the way it should be. But the only way to get rid of fear is to acknowledge it first. No? Fear will never let you ignore it on a subconscious level. You have to go inward and counteract it. When I was very young, very, very, very young, I was told that if you have a nightmare and you see something that really scares you, you are actually more in control of your dreams than you realize. Once you're in the dream and you remember that someone's told you you can do this, you can do it. So if you have a really scary nightmare, you can confront what it is that's scaring you and you can change it. So say, for example, it was a big scary monster thing, like a demon or something. You can turn it into a kitten in your dream. People just don't realize they can do this. And it is a way of combating a fear that is trying to get into your subconscious, or you can turn around and face it in the dream. Scream at it if you want. But there's something going on in your subconscious that you need to face, Aries, and being the big, bold warrior that you are, it is easier to fight battles in real life than it is to fight them in your subconscious. I know. But you figure it out. Whatever it is that's scaring you, you figure it out. I think for a lot of you, it's a fear, possibly stemming from a Virgo, actually. I do feel like for a lot of you, it's from a Virgo. There's real romantic opportunity here for a lot of you, particularly if you're dealing with, as I say, Pisces. I mean, I go into this in the extended. But if you've been hurt by somebody who was going through a family breakup, because this is kind of looking to me as though you've been trying in your past to continue love relationships with people that were actually going through very traumatic times and you couldn't quite understand it. And maybe now you find yourself in a new relationship and you actually are realizing that you're a bit frightened, even though you won't admit that, and that's fine, you don't have to. But you're a bit hesitant about it. Okay, I mean, there's a romantic relationship here that's positive, so don't, if you're completely single, I feel like there's somebody coming in. I feel like a lot of you are in the early stages, not the year mark of having somebody of interest. I really feel like it could be Pisces or Leo for a lot of you. But everything's working out as it should. And you're actually encountering people with justice here that are more balanced. If someone's been treating you very, very unfairly, I will warn you, because justice, I've seen justice do this so many times. If you've been in a relationship that's been very, very out of kilter, very, very unfair, where one of you has been very unfair to the other, one of you has been taking, one of you has been laxy-daisy, throwing a little bit of emotional onslaughts to the other person, justice will always intervene by circumstance that separates two people. So those strange changes of fate whereby you are suddenly moved by your company, where you're suddenly ghosted by somebody, that kind of thing is actually universal protection. It's when your ancestors are super frustrated at who you're dating because they're so bad to you, and they step in and they separate it. That's what that's known as, okay? I said that to a friend once, and they were wondering where their ancestors were whenever they made really, really, really crappy mistakes. I don't know, but maturity. You're maturing beautifully, Aries. So I'm going to read you. This is Belinda Grace, the love reading cards, by the way. They give you some little love advice. They're very good. Let's see what maturity says, because I'm still learning these. Okay, so an emotionally mature person knows that they're responsible for their own happiness, okay? So this is you going inward and looking after yourself and figuring out what it is that you need to go over with yourself. So you could have been in relationships where there was a lack of emotional maturity, or you could be dealing with someone who's emotionally immature. But a symptom of emotional immaturity is thinking your partner is actually responsible for your happiness. So, you know, there is past pain that is coming towards you, and you feel like other people have to pass these emotional tests or these physical tests. I'm just thinking this off the cuff. And that's an immature way of doing it. Learning that you're responsible for yourself and that you maybe do have something you have to go inward and accept before you can move on is important. If you're completely single, take responsibility for your own happiness, and someone appears. Just like that. Just like that, someone will appear. This says, you have drawn this card today because the universe wants you to experience real love, happiness, attractiveness, and security, not the false versions that evaporate the minute you're on your own, okay? So take some time to contemplate your emotional maturity, write your feelings in a journal, or meditate. Let your inner guidance show you where you can love, acknowledge, and support yourself more. Ties in pretty well, don't you think? Very pleasant surprise coming for you, Aries. But there's a little bit of emotional upheaval here going on that you're trying to fight. And don't fight off the people that love you, is one way that I want to say this. If someone's showing an interest in you, don't put them through hoops. If your sole purpose isn't proving that they're legitimate, if your purpose is actually to prove that they're not, you will find it. You will always find proof where you go looking, okay? That's why people trust. Because when you don't trust, sometimes you manifest the worst. Self-fulfilling prophecies, sociology, people will oftentimes become who you believe they are to be, even if they're not. So keep a clear head. Do listen to your intuition. As I said, if somebody asks you to do something and every inch in your body feels like no, but you find yourself saying yes, no, just don't do it. Listen to your intuition. You feel something's unsafe, you feel something's unsettling, say no. That person's not responsible for your happiness or your safety. That's you, okay? So just letting you know that you are responsible for your own happiness. But something lovely comes along all the same. It's just that it's on the other side of this sort of conquering mission. And you love a mission, you love a challenge, so I have no doubt you guys are going to conquer. So I will see you in the extended love readings if you're interested in those, and if not, I'll see you next time. Bye!